First of all, whenever we are talking about the word valuation, it is the process where I estimate the worth of the asset, the true value of the asset. How much is it really worthwhile? And how do I arrive at that? I either look at the future return generating potential, the future benefit potential of that asset, what factors really impact that, understanding those factors which can help me generate better returns out of that asset in future, or I can do some kind of a comparison with similar assets, and I could even do the liquidation proceeds. If at all I am going to wind up the business today, what is the total cost of the assets, total worth of the assets that I have with me at this moment. So all these three could go as a basis for valuation. So at the end, we are trying to determine what is the true worth of a particular asset or a company. Now, it is in this context we define different definitions of value. And the most important definition that we need to be comfortable with is the intrinsic value. And if I have to define it, it's a true value. True value, which is based on a complete understanding of its investment characteristics, means a person, he really understands all the ingredients of that asset, all the characteristics of that asset, and says this is the amount that I am willing to buy it. So here there is a kind of a perceived opinion. It is more and more specific to each individual investor. It's not like price. Price is something which is common to everyone, the market price. Whereas when we bring in the intrinsic value, it is the amount that is specific to each individual investor based on how he perceives the future value, how he perceives the future value or future benefits that can be realized out of the utilization of the asset. Right? So it's a kind of a perceived opinion regarding the true value of the asset. So it differs for each investor differently based on how he assesses the performance of that particular asset is going to be in future. But of course, a few things to understand in this context. We have an efficient market hypothesis which says that the markets are really efficient, right? Which also says that the price reflects all the available information. That is what is being brought out by our efficient market hypothesis. So if I go with that, it says that the price should be the best estimator of the intrinsic value. So to a large extent, we should find that the market price should match with the intrinsic value. But in reality, it may not be possible for few reasons. The moment, if both of them are the same, try to look at like this. Market price is actually a freely available information. Right? We just visit the trading website, I will get the market price of a particular asset. Whereas, when I am talking about an intrinsic value, we are talking about a complete understanding of the characteristics of the asset. So, which means the investor, he is actually investing some time and money in terms of gathering information, analyzing the company's details. Why is he doing it? If it is the same as the market price, he could have taken that for free. Now that is where we are going with the rational efficient markets formulation says that if at all both of them are the same, investor will never spend any additional money and time in terms of gathering and analyzing the market information unless he is getting rewarded in the form of higher returns compared to the market price that is available. So it need not be the case that the market price is a better estimator of your intrinsic value always. Right? So that is the motivation behind doing the valuation exercise. Market price may be different from intrinsic value. By doing a thorough analysis, by doing a thorough understanding of the business of the company, I'm really interested in generating a return which is higher compared to directly using the prices information from the market. And the analyst is always trying to look out for a perceived mispricing in the security. So where is this mispricing coming up? There is a possibility that the security's market price is differing from the intrinsic value. So the intrinsic value is computed by the analyst. Market price is the one that is common to everyone, and wherever there is a difference, that is what we are calling as a mispricing opportunity. And believe me, almost all the investment managers, all the portfolio managers, they are behind this process of identifying these mispricing opportunities. Alpha, the word which is commonly used, which talks about the positive excess risk adjusted return. This is something which is targeted by the portfolio manager, which always comes through this identification of the mispriced opportunities. And it's always that you take a position in a security which is mispriced and get a return when the intrinsic value is approaching the market value. So we are under the assumption that today there is a mispricing, but the more and more people start exploiting this mispricing, the market value, market price would come very much closer to the intrinsic value, and the mispricing opportunity will go off. And now that you have exploited that mispricing opportunity, you are going to get a higher return. So that's how we typically get into the trading process. Now, what could be there? Now that you have identified a mispricing opportunity, all I need to know is it a true mispricing or is it an error in the estimate? Now, if I am talking about a true mispricing, yes, it's a real difference between the intrinsic value that I have got, the true intrinsic value versus the observed market price. Whatever is the difference, that much I can really earn a positive alpha on it. Whereas if it is more associated with an error in the estimate, it is as good as saying it's an estimated, the difference that I am bringing out between the estimated intrinsic value and the actual intrinsic value, which could be because of my estimation error. I can't do anything. I can't get that additional return because of my error estimation. So we have to really understand the perceived mispricing at any point is composed of two components, the true mispricing as well as the error in the estimate of the intrinsic value, right? And we have to understand that there is a risk in this entire exercise, that there might be a possibility that the market price may not converge to the intrinsic value during the investment horizon of the investor at all, right?